Well, greetings and salutations, one all, to another episode of Career Retrospectives right on the Super Review Show Network. I'm joined by my two incredible friends, Kyle and Mike. What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys?
Yo, oh no.
Yes, and we are back once again. So it was Kyle's pick today for his birthday. We're a little late on this one too, but I will say we are here to discuss Kyle's pick for his album, Pinhead Gunpowders. And it's a Green Day side project, and we wanted to touch on it thanks to Kyle and his suggestions. So take it away, buddy. What do you got for Green Day side project with Pinhead Gunpowder?
Yeah, so it's really just Billy Joe. It's been his side project since early 90s before Green Day even blew up. Uh, Always been a fan of them, as well as Green Day. This is really more of his project with Jason White, who's the touring guitarist of Green Day, as well as some other big names in the punk scene from back in the day. Just kind of them doing more raw DIY punk stuff. This album kind of strayed away from that a little bit. Mostly is the first release in well over a decade, and it's really probably the reason for that being just more, one, they're older, so it does not have that same snarl that some of their previous work has had, and that's absolutely for sure very noticeable. And the production just more clean. It's probably just because production styles have changed so much since then. It's very rare that you hear any kind of very raw punk release, especially from more established bands these days. So, I mean, JT, if you want to go to the track list, we can get right into that. So, starting off with the title track, the lead single, absolutely great song, fantastic song, 10 out of 10. Love this. The lead guitar riff on this was super fun. Lyrically, it's my favorite on the album. So, I mean, starting off this way, super strong. I see why this is the title track. Uh, just the lyrics about, if you want, kind of like if you want the world to be a certain way, it's kind of up to you to start that. If everyone just sat back and didn't do anything about anything, nothing's gonna ever get anywhere. Absolutely great song, super fun, vocally fantastic. Billy does a great job here. And then we go to Difficult But Not Impossible. This song actually really grew on me when this album first came out about a month or two ago. It wasn't really anywhere near my favorites, and it's still not one of my favorites, but it actually really grew on me. It's catchy. I really like when their songs effectively use both vocalists at one time on the same track. They do it very well here. It also has my favorite guitar solo of the record. It's very melodic. Uh, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's a good song. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. And then Scum of the Earth. It's another good song. The chorus is catchy, but it could have done a lot more on here. The chorus being Scum of the Earth repeated a couple times is a little could have definitely done more. Uh, Verses sound very much like Green Day version of Billy Joe. So that's something that never really bled into Pinhead Gunpowder that often until this record. And on here, I noticed it throughout a lot of the songs. But this is the first time I'm really noticing it. It's a 7. It's good. It's good. There's very few songs on here that I would not consider good songs. Feel the same way pretty much about the next track, Oh My. The melody here is very nice throughout the verse and the chorus. Harmonies are really good. I think where it fell apart for me a little bit was the instrumentation fell a little bit flat. It could have done significantly more. It just kind of stayed pretty standard one note throughout it. And same thing, nothing ever happens. It's a little bit better. Very Green Day sounding, very much. Especially even including the inclusion of like the woes thrown in there, like very trilogy era Green Day on that. And it's interesting because this is where I started to notice it and where these songs, as much as they sound like Green Day, don't hit the highs of Green Day because it's an example of when someone from a band strays out. And even if it's their songwriting style, you can tell this is a Billy Joe Armstrong written song. Sounds very much like it, but it's missing those other two core ingredients of like Mike Dirnt and Trey Cool, and they're doing their thing to really elevate the instrumental on it. So it doesn't have that dynamic instrumentation to take it to the next level. So it sits at about an 8. We go to Draw It In, and here's a Draw It In and Shine are probably the low point of the album for me. With Draw It In being a 6, the chorus is by far the best part of the song. Not a big fan of what's going on in the verses here. It really doesn't do much as a song. It's just kind of there. Pretty background track. But then we get to the most forgettable song that I kept forgetting every time the album was on that this was even on here with Shine. It's a five. It's fine. It's a serviceable song. It's there. I would never go seek it out. I wouldn't skip it either. But where it really falls flat for me are these are some corny ass lyrics. These lyrics on this sound like something that you give to like an elementary school music classroom to sing, where it's like, don't wipe your tears away, let them shine. Look at the stars in the sky, let them shine. Oh my God. I don't like that kind of stuff. That it just did not do it for me. It is a five, very forgettable. Weird when this is the second song they released from the album too. I honestly I kind of worried about it when that was the second thing I heard. But I mean immediately picks it up into Hola Canada. 10 out of 10. Love this track. It's so fun. Super fun, super catchy, super energetic, super passionate. I've always said that while I may not agree with him on a lot of things, when Billy Joe is writing and singing about like politics and things he feels strongly about, that's when you get his best work. Because you can feel like the passion coming through. You could feel like that he means what he's saying. The melodies on this are great. The harmonies are great. Everything about this song kicks ass. It could fit on any Green Day album. Any Green Day album in the past 15, 20 years, I'd say that you could fit this on it perfectly. And it works very well. It's one of the big three of this album. And I'll get to the third one in a little bit. And Here Goes the Neighborhood. This one was kind of being teased before the album was even announced a little bit. It's a great punk track. Lyrics are good actually on here. There's not many songs that I would point to lyrically as being like standouts on this record, but this is pretty good. This one actually has some like musical changes going on. The vocals are good. Sits at an eight. Then also another eight here on Mumbles, where it's just a fun, goofy tune. These lyrics are super goofy, very amusing. Again, could have done more instrumentally. Not going to harp on that more. And then another one that's kind of a down point to me on Green. I did warm up to it a little bit, but it's really sat at a 6 out of 10. It's very sludgy, which is cool. I like that. But more needed to happen. There's one part towards the end where it kind of picks up in speed a little bit, but then just goes right back to the sludgy part. And I just wish they did more. It's fine. It's all right. It's a 6. Ciao Chilla, most aggressive song on the album. Wish there was more like this on here. It's an 8, but this is something that I expected more of the album to be similar to this, just going back to their previous catalog of work. And I wish Billy he used more of his old vocal style on this, more of his aggressive vocal style, and it still works. I wish he did it more often on Pinhead Gunpowder's album here, on Green Day releases. Not something that we get to see very often anymore. Trash TV. The minute this one started, I was like, hold on a second. This sounds very familiar. Sounds very familiar to the song Mumbles from 3 songs ago. Uh, it's not bad. It's not as good as that. It's nothing special. Pretty standard song. Ended up at about a 7. Then we get to the final track and the last track of my big three from this album with Song for Myself. Even though it's a cover, I'm going to be honest, I'm not very familiar with the original track, but this song kicks ass. This is an incredible song. The vocal work on here is probably the best uh, use of both vocalists on the record. The harmonies are great. The way they take like the turns on the vocals sounds great. The lyrics, they didn't write them, it's a cover, but the lyrics are awesome. It's a very fitting song to close the record. Another 10 out of 10 here. So overall, it's not a perfect album. I was hoping for more, just since I've loved Pinhead Gunpowder's previous releases. This is a fine album. I do like it more now that I've had time to sit with it. I think I had like the opposite of usually recency bias. We talked about it in the Linkin Park review a little bit. Usually that feeds into, wow, this is the best thing this band has done. I had kind of the opposite experience with this. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is not at all what I was hoping for. But I think that that was more of it doesn't sound what I anticipated it to sound like given their previous releases from well over a decade ago. Some of them back in the early 90s. And so once I came to grips with that, they're much older now. It's not going to sound like that. It's kind of unrealistic to expect it to sound like some DIY punk records from the 90s at this point in their lives. So once I took it for what it was and let it kind of sit with me, I put it about 7.5. It's a good album. Could have been great, had a little bit more potential, but it's where I sit, 7.5.
All righty, you heard it here first. 7.5 out of 10. I'm gonna go next. If that's okay with you, Mike. Just want to check if
Go
that's
for
okay.
it, man.
I'll make mine rather quick, only because not just because I'm pressed for time tonight, but that's besides the point. Um, it's funny. So I knew about Foxborough Hot Tubs. I knew about the network, but I did not realize that Pinhead Gunpowder was another one of Billy Joe Armstrong's side projects with outside of Green Day. Until you mentioned it actually, which is kind of surprising because I didn't make that connection until now. But listening to this, I mean, it was my first introduction to his side project material. I never listened to Foxborough Hot Tubs. I never listened to the network either when those were still going on. But I did enjoy this one more than I thought I would. I didn't know what to expect. So here, but I overall I liked what I heard. I'm kind of just gonna clump all of the tracks together because for me, track by track for me would be very difficult because as someone who has not listened to other Pinhead Gunpowder material, um, it's very hard to decipher different sounding tracks other than Billy's vocals and Billy's style. The only thing that I can differentiate track by track is the vocals for me personally, buddy. Only because there was so much to me at least sounding the same. Again, I have to listen to other Pinhead Gunpowder albums to decipher the rest of it, if you will, if you know what I mean. But basically, I'm gonna just kind of clump them all into one rating here. Um, the whole album for me, I'm actually saying about a 7.75. I could go up to an 8 depending on what day it is, because I liked what I heard, but I would have to hear more of what they came where their other material was from aside from that, if you know what I mean. So I'll do a zip through really quick. Um, Undifficult but not impossible, Scum of the Earth. You know, just I enjoyed the tracks, but at this point in the record, 3 tracks in, I'm like, all right, well, I I kind of got a feeling I kind of have an idea of what I'm expecting so far, and I do enjoy I enjoy what I got so far. When we got from Oh My down to Ola Canada, I actually was kind of surprised about how much I was enjoying this style of excuse me this side project outside of Green Day. I did enjoy I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it more as time went on, as the record went on. I didn't realize for 14 songs it was only a 32-minute song. Well, it kind of to me it felt like Father of All for a little bit, like as far as like the length wise. There's like a lot of tracks, a lot of them are really short, and I'm plowing through them. I'm like, I forgot that track was there. I forgot that track was there. Then we go from here goes the neighborhood 2 down to Trash TV. This is where my part of the album I was like, all right, I'm getting through this faster. I'm getting through this a little bit quicker, and I enjoyed it more and more as time went on. But and so I did not realize the song for myself was a Harry Chapin cover. I had no idea that was either. But I'm not familiar with the original song myself. But we'll have to get that when the time comes on. But no, I'm actually sitting at about a 7.75. Could go up to an 8. My biggest thing was the guitar sounds of the record. I get that this is a Green Day side project. I wasn't expecting too much from it, but I can honestly tell you that this one I can see why it's not Green Day. I can see why it's not like a main Green Day sound because Green Day has their own sound and they've differed a little bit here and there with different producers over the years. But I haven't. But this is I could definitely see how this could appeal to certain different people of like the Green Day community, like Kyle, who you listen to here all the time. Or and we're gonna hear what Mike says in a second. But overall, I think that this is actually my first introduction to Pinhead Gunpowder. I liked what I heard. I'm giving it a solid 7.75 out of 10, just a little bit higher than Kyle, only because a lot of the tracks sounded the same, but I was okay with it. It's one thing for an artist to sound the same on every track, and then you're just used to that at that point. This one, at least, it felt a little bit different track by track for me, at least. Excuse me, overall, and I liked that it was not a Green Day project in general. If this was a Green Day release, I'd be like, what's going on? You know what I mean? But overall, I liked what I heard. So I could go up to an 8, but I'm sticking with the 7.75. That's me personally. I know Mike is morbidly curious. He's the second biggest Green Day fan here, or
Hey, there we
you know,
go. Sure.
something like that. But yeah,
I'll take whatever you're saying. Yeah, like I never pay attention to any side projects. Like I've told people in the past, I liked a couple Green Day albums. Um, Not my style of music. Falls on a lot of its tricks and it's what it does. It doesn't really have a lot of depth as a genre unless you mix it in with other styles. And unfortunately, this is a lot of the same thing. So just get right into it. It's pretty, I mean, from the first track till the last, this is just one long marathon of like power chords and songs that sound very similar. Und sounds just like nothing ever happens. I mean, literally, I kept playing them, and they start the exact same way with such a very slight difference, and then the middle of the song changes, but it's nuts. Like I went through this album, it was just, man, it was beating me to death with a lot of the same thing. First song's 4 out of 10. It's like a punk rock sing along protest song, somewhere wedged between A Christmas Carol and the Wiggles. I wrote down in my notes, like, it's just like, it's not for me, it's not for me. It just reminds me of like some Christmas carol you'd be singing, like, deck the halls. It just has like such a simple, like catchy, but annoyingly catchy, to a point where you're just like, ugh, and the lyrics are so cringe, like Canada this, and we can, like, it's just like the part of Billy Joe and Green Day I've always is a guy's capitalizing on so many good things that he gets money through this air, but then he talks crap about cities that he calls like crap, or this, that, and the other thing. But he's willing to take the checks for sure. Um, so yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. Difficult but not impossible. It's got some strange melodic dissonance in that opening lead over top of those power chords. Really kind of hits the ear weird, but I like weird stuff like that. So I thought it was unique. Yeah, this is an improvement over the first song, but not by much. It's like a 5 out of 10. Might go to 6 if overall, it's one of the better songs on the album, I think. Uh, Scum of the Earth, again, same kind of thing. Not much there, a little bit of a groove, but and at times the drumming in this is weird because I think they're using like a real raw approach. The cymbals kind of feel off time a little bit, almost like they didn't do it in the studio and kind of copy it. They just like played through, which I really appreciate stuff like that. But it does distract me at times. I'm listening to the cymbal work and stuff, and he's trying to keep it interesting, but really not much you can do to keep this kind of music interesting. It's just pretty much straightforward, like beat you to death with that kind of thing. So Scum of the Earth, yeah, 5. Oh my, another example of a song that just can't take off for 5. Nothing ever happens. It's a 5. It's got brief moments, but it's just the direction, it needs direction. And then he does this blaringly like staticky lead over top of stuff that's just yeah, just another identical opening to Und. 6, Draw It In. It's just so similar. 5 for that one. Shine. This is really where I'm feeling the album fatigue with the power chords and whatnot. So that's a 4 out of 10. Ola Canada, this was a 3. I mean, just the lyrics alone make me literally just cringe to death. Just repetitive. It definitely reminded me of Green Day, but without that substance or attitude. I like Kyle was saying, I want the snarl, I want the like attitude, and I don't want a song worshiping Canada because like it's just like you know
Mike
if you want
hates
to,
fun.
I do. If he wants to go live there for good, then I mean,
He
by all
should.
means, I mean,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
like let's shovel him out. I'll help pay for it. Then
The
we go.
Mike
Here
heard that
goes.
firework. He said that this is too much fun for me. 3 out of 10.
Exactly. Here goes the neighborhood. It's just that awkward sounding vocalist joins the party. He just doesn't really have a voice for what the song needs, but it's a different voice, which was something that my brain appreciated. It just has that Cali feel to it. This whole album kind of has that, the Cali, vibe to the bass, and kind of reminds me, like, Rancid or something like that. Mumbles 3, it's just literally the same music and vocals. It's just, yeah. Green, just a rip off of Offspring's, the whatever that song is. I think it's la la na, 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 na. This riff is literally that song. through the whole thing. It's actually one of the better songs on the album because it actually does something different than everything else before it. I gave it a 5. It literally is like one of those songs my like brain latched onto because I'm like something different. Uh, Chowchilla just it's got the. I mean, all these songs are so short they don't have a chance to even make their point. They're just rushed to make it through, and that's the problem. Is they just don't have enough time to expand upon what they're doing. They do it, and then they run out of like time to like really do anything else. So, Trash TV, it's 5, and Song for Myself 4. So overall, yeah, this was just a real painful listen to get through because it just, at this point in my life where I'm at, my brain just gets tired of eating the same thing and it needs something else to come into. And if it doesn't happen at some point, then I just kind of it just becomes just one simple same note for me. So yeah, like I had like a 3.6 somewhere in that realm. I might put it on a 4 just because like it doesn't it's not too long, but it's also too short. So if it was longer and did the same thing, I'd be dying. But yeah, I'll sit at a 4, and we'll leave it at that. Sorry, Kyle. Happy birthday, though.
All right.
Wow, for Kyle's birthday,
Didn't
Mike
expect Mike
trashed
to
another
like it.
album. I knew it. No. But in all seriousness, you heard Mike's rating. It's a 4 out of 10. No, as I said from the top, guys, this is for Kyle's birthday. He wanted us every birthday we review a different album by for our birthday anniversaries or whatever. So yeah. Anyways, you heard it first. So Mike's the villain. I'm the highest, and Kyle is the middle. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unexpected. Woo.
Kind of surprised. I was 7.75 for me, but yeah, 7.75 for me, 7.5 for Kyle, and a 4 out of 10 for Mike. But yeah, that's if I heard more of it, I would probably get more into it. I'm gonna be honest with you, bud. So you're gonna have to show me some more at some point. So, but yeah. That's all she wrote. We want to thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy tonight. This is a kind of a quick show for us, guys, but because I got home late from work, but that's okay. We need to say that if you've seen or heard here, subscribe to us on YouTube. We do the show Monday nights EST around 5:30 or 6 o'clock ish. Anyway, thank you for watching, listening, however you enjoy tonight. Q&A podcast is coming back or no?
Yeah, eventually.
At some point.
Hiatus.
It's on hiatus because his son was born. Back in November, and Mike is spreading the love. Of course, what can we say? Love is alive.
Happy that he said it's coming back, so I was reacting
exactly
to that. So.
Yes, we do the show on Zoom. No, but thanks so much for watching, listening, guys. So for all of us here, the Super Review Show. Stay safe, take care, and
rocket ship off.
We'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Stay safe.